everyone, welcome to School of Scarlet. I am so happy to have you here today. Today I'm going to be talking about why you don't experience freedom in your life. One of the things that is keeping you, the main thing that's keeping you in the lowest vibration is shame. I've talked about shame before, but today I'm going to expand on it. And so I have new things in store for you here at School of Scarlet. So this year, as you can see, we're in our new set. I have a lot of interesting and new things coming for you. We're going a lot deeper and we're getting a lot more savage and really getting to what is really going on here. We're not going to play any more games about going round and round in circles of the non-duality game. We're going to actually be creator beings and start to actualize what is happening within our hearts. See, many people continue to live in shame even after they've had an awakening, even after they've experienced some shift either psychologically or somehow within their own being. They continue to lead lives that are very fear-based, very chained by things like shame. Shame is the lowest vibration that we can ever experience, and it is the one vibration that really kind of leads to depression, leads to really feeling small, leads to really not accomplishing much or really doing much in one's life. Because when we're shamed, we feel small. And shame started way back then when we were children. Shame is something that we had or experienced as children when we were shamed. And in that time period, there wasn't much we could really do about it. We were just children. And whether it was that we were being bullied outside of our home or within our home, we experienced some level of shame. And that shame has really been kind of like a poison running throughout our bodies. It's something that doesn't belong there. It's something that really can be transmuted, and really we want to get rid of that from our bodies because it's not meant to be there. It's something that we have allowed. See, you have allowed that at some point or another, whether it was when you were a child or now as an adult. You have allowed or accepted what someone has said. See, generally when someone says something about us, whether they're saying something mean, they're bullying us, doing these things, we have always the choice whether or not we want to allow or accept what they are saying. And for the most part, most of us are totally unconscious to what is happening. So because of this, most of the times, whatever someone else outside of ourselves is saying, if they're saying it enough or it's making sense in some way, it's correlating with what's happening, then what happens is the mind will accept it as truth. But you see, it's not truth. And every moment you are born new, and every moment everything is changing. So what you were in the last moment, you are not today. So we're going to be talking a very, very profound explanation of shame and how to transmute it. There are two ways to transmute shame. There is always the inner and the outer. That is the case with all things. So if we go inner and we transmute our shame inwardly, that is when we seek silence. We seek our true absolute self. And in seeking that and abiding in that silence, we recognize our true nature, which is divine, and shame cannot coexist in the space of the heart. So if you seek the heart, you can instantly transmute shame. It is that simple. You don't need psychological help. You don't need therapy. You don't need anything. If you can tap into your sacred heart and abide there, you can transmute it. And we all have this ability in every moment to choose our heart. Now, if you have trouble understanding the heart is an area that has no polarity. It means it's totally neutral. It's unconditional love. It accepts all. There is nothing that is wrong or outside of its being because it is infinity. It is everything. And so in that heart space, there is none of this. There's no shame. There's none of these things appearing because everything is okay. See, only shame appears when we think we don't belong, when we think that we are separate. And you see, the heart doesn't even recognize that. That doesn't even register for the heart. The heart knows the truth. So it only speaks from the truth. It only acts from the truth. And it only is the truth. It can't be any other way. But the mind, you see, is distorting things. The mind is an illusion created within the manifestation. It is just arising. It's not something absolute. The mind can do anything. It can create illusions. It can create imagination, dreams, everything. And of course, this is just a dream. But you see, it creates such a very strong dream for you that you believe it to be total, absolute reality. And the thing is, this is not absolute, total reality. It's not even physical reality. You're not even really a physical being. Time is not even actually happening. Nothing is happening here, dear friends. So when you can tap into that silent awareness within yourself, you transmute shame instantly, because the truth is seen through the eyes of the divine. There is nothing wrong here. It is beautiful and perfect in all moments. But the second way to transmute shame, and the most typical way currently in our society, in our world, is through inner work. And the inner work, I really call it outer work, because when we're working inwardly, or I'm talking about going within to silence, to the divine, to what you truly are, the absolute. When I'm talking about getting therapy, when I'm talking about inner work, it's not technically inner work. It is and it isn't. You will have to seek someone outside of yourself. The second way of transmuting shame is seeking something outside of yourself, whether that's books, knowledge, some self-help information on how to transmute shame, like this video, or seeking a therapist or some qualified professional that can help you to transmute shame, because they themselves have done this and have helped others to do this. So you can partner with these people and transmute shame this way. See, when you partner with anyone outside of yourself, it's not exactly that you're doing something wrong. So many people, I've recently posted in a poll about, have you had therapy? And so many people got triggered, I guess, because they don't think they need therapy. No one was suggesting anybody needs therapy, but it is a tool that we can use, friends. There's many tools on this world that we can use, and yet there are so many people that close themselves off totally from things that could be so beneficial to their well-being and to their growth. Things like therapy. As soon as I mention therapy, wow, so many people shun away. There are so many people that are triggered by therapy. If you're triggered by therapy or anything, you have to realize you have a resistance, and a strong resistance that you have not overcome. You are not in peace. You are not having freedom if you are still resisting things and scared of things. As a matter of fact, the person that posted had never even been to therapy. So many people want to judge things that they have never even experienced. All of the things that are appearing in your reality are only meant for you, dear friends. You're resisting them, thinking that they're against you. They're for you. They're to help you. They're to be here with you, to show you where you can have more freedom. Yet you resist it. So this is a very, very tricky nature of shame, or anything that we're ever going to talk about here. Everything that you want is behind fear, on the other side of fear. So if you're fearing therapy, if you're fearing whatever it happens to be, another thing I mentioned was goals once, and people were very threatened by goals. Goals is a tool you use. Goals is not meant for you to accomplish a trophy, friends. Goals is meant to have you have your focus on something, your intention on something, because that is how you manifest things here in this reality. You have to have your attention on it at some level. And if you do not, it slips away. It's the feminine. It slips away very easily. The masculine is the structure. So we want to create some structure, whether that's therapy, whether that's goals, whether that's lists, whatever you happen to have to do to stay on the track of transmuting your shame and going past fear. Otherwise, you will completely lose it, and you will go back into the feminine and completely lose yourself in life. And before you know it, you will be manipulated by this person, that person, and you will be back where you started, because you never set the boundaries or the structure that is needed. We need both the masculine and the feminine to move forward. So I am encouraging you on the second way to transmute shame, to seek partnership with someone that has experience in transmuting shame. Shame will pop up over and over again for you if you do not do this. It's basically like a whack-a-mole. You're going to have this thing, you're shameful about this. One thing after another will pop up. and it will feel very unmanageable to you if you do not understand the tools that you can use. If you do not understand how to sit in silent awareness within your own being in this moment, which is called mindfulness, then you will probably be more beneficial getting therapy or inner work. Because unless you can abide in the absolute currently, you will not experience that transmuting of shame within your being. You will still feel it within your body. You'll feel uncomfortable, you'll feel tension, pressure in your chest, in your shoulders. You might even have pressure in your facial area, and you will not be able to speak your truth. So people will be easily manipulating you. If people want you to do things, you'll easily fall for it, even though deep down inside you don't feel like doing those things, or that doesn't speak truth within your being. You will still do it because you're working out of victim mentality. Shame is a very tricky thing, okay? And so we can find ourselves shameful of so many things. And the biggest things people are shameful of is their appearance, which leads to shame also about sex, and also leads shame about money and lack. So those are the main things that I find people are so deeply ashamed of, and they seem to never be able to transmute it. The way you know if you have not transmuted things like shame around money or sex, which is the biggest things people have the shame about, is you will not have a healthy relationship in those areas to those things. So your sex life will not be healthy, or it will not be fulfilling to you. It will not be the things that you imagine it to be. As far as money, if you have not transmuted your shame around money, you will continue to have situations pop up where you will be shameful about the fact that you don't have money. And you will continue to act like you are hiding the fact that you are shameful about this until you show the world, I can't handle money. I messed up. I did this. As soon as you show the shadow to the world, you transmute it. Same thing with sex. As soon as you tell the world or you express your truth to someone about what you desire or need, then you will transmute that shame around that, and you will start to have the actual things you want in your reality. Otherwise, forget about it. You're never going to get it. So you want to look at all these areas, and the shame can go into other areas as well. I've seen people that are very shameful about how they are as parents, very shameful about how they are perceived. They are very hyper vigilant about themselves. And so there's a lot of stuff like this happening. If you find yourself concerned about what other people think, you are carrying a high level of shame, because most people do not care what other people think. At some level, you eventually transmute that naturally as you age, because you realize people are not talking about you, nor do they care about you. And most of the times, they're not even there for you. So what you have is you. That is the second way of understanding things. The first way of understanding things, the absolute way, is you are everything and anything around you. There is no expression outside of yourself that is not you. So why would you be shameful, or why would you be embarrassed around another being when you are the absolute? You are everything in connection and relationship with everything. You paint with all the colors of the wind. So there is nothing outside of yourself that can move you. If you find yourself being moved by other people, not being able to lead or live the life that you want, it is because you are carrying shame. So I just watched a movie the other night. It was Elvis, and I don't know if any of y'all have watched it. I don't know a whole lot about Elvis. I have never been like a huge Elvis fan, but I always knew he was the king of rock and roll, or, the king. I always knew he was the king. So, of course, I knew he was a legend. I watched his movie, and I would really recommend you to watch the movie. This man was an amazing man. In watching the movie and sensing everything, this man was pure love coming on earth, embodying a musician who is very animated in a way that could work a crowd, specifically the feminine, which had never been activated before. He activated the feminine energy that was so suppressed in our world. Feminine beings, women, were not allowed to be very sexual or wanting to be aggressive towards men or any of that. That was not going to happen in the old days, right? People think it was the 60s, but Elvis, with his music, with his dancing, the girls began to sing, scream, dance, have fainting experiences that were out of this world, throwing their panties. They had never seen this before. The world had never seen this before. They had never seen women and girls this way before. He activated the feminine, the divine feminine being within our reality. But what did the world do to Elvis? If you watch the movie, Elvis had a mother. He was a twin baby boy. Elvis was born a twin. When Elvis was born, his twin died, and his mother sat with that grief most of her life, and that she had lost the other twin. And she had an extreme amount of fear around her son Elvis passing away. Elvis eventually, he tried to, looks like, dodge the draft and things like that, because he knew deep down in his heart what was right for his mother and for himself. He tried to do this. He wasn't trying to be bad or against anything. There was something telling him that was not for him. He was pressured to go, and he did it. And it was mostly a stunt, right? For him to show that he was he was being responsible and not this crazy guy that was just starting all this trouble with, the world. And while he was doing this, his mother went into a deep depression and started drinking, and she drank herself literally to death. Elvis came back, and he claimed that he killed his mother by going off to the military. And in the movie, they show where he meets with his friends, and he talks to them about how now his heart is different. He has an opening, which is a wound that, should be released, but he has a wound where now people can get in and manipulate him. He told his friends that he had that insight. And he asked them to please be the ones, the watchers, to look out for him, because he no longer has that perception. So now people can continue to manipulate him. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like his friends really helped him or anybody. And he was manipulated into a very horrible financial abuse system. He wasn't able to fulfill his dreams in the ways that he wanted if you watch the movie. And everything and every area fell apart. That is what the root of shame will do to you. Get it out, pluck it out, cut that cord of shame out of you. You do not need anything like this running your system. I will be talking about a lot of videos coming up about things that are no longer needed here. See, when Elvis activated the feminine energy, we have a new energy on this earth. 2024 is going to be more feminine. You're going to see more and more feminine energy. Nobody would have listened to a female character as myself many years ago. They would have burned me at the stake. And look at it now. There are so many female speakers, so many empowered feminine figures in our world, and our reality has changed to a much softer way of being. People are more able to spend time with their family. Since we've had things that appear to have been so-called bad, pandemics, things that have happened, they have shifted the energy to be more feminine. See, the feminine has to tear down. The feminine is very ruthless. Has to tear down these things such as shame, these structures that have built up out of false distortions by the masculine being that was too far into the masculine. The only reason we have distortions is because we have no balance. All we have to do is balance. And so we're bringing in some more feminine. That's not to say we're getting rid of the masculine, which is why I suggest things like therapy, goals, having some kind of structure to your flow. If you are very much awakened or in line with reality of absolute reality of source, you do need some structure, or you will just be off without any kind of structure. You probably won't be able to hold any kind of job or structure that will provide those things for you in a way that is in a secure way. So you're going to want to have some kind of structure to your flow to balance it a bit. And that is with everything. But this video is mostly around shame. And so getting back to talking about shame, shame really has no place in your reality. That is something I could honestly tell you has no place in your reality. It just doesn't, because when you abide in the heart, shame does not exist. And I know that for a fact. So if you're shameful about anything, I want you to know that you're going to continue to repeat those experiences in your life. If you're shameful about money, you're going to continue to have experiences where you're in lack, where things happen where you don't have money, because you're meant to transmute that. You're meant to see that you're okay, that you're safe, and there is nothing wrong in this reality. You're always taken care of. And when you realize that and you let go of that power and control of how can I get it, and I'm going to worry and I'm going to do and I'm going to effort to have more and more, when you just surrender and say, okay, I can't make money. I can't do this. I am not good at this. I have no money. And maybe you even tell someone or ask for help or tell people, I don't know how to manage money. And people begin to help you and show you how to budget and support you and uplift you. And now you begin to transmute that and you have no more problems with money. But as so long as you keep things in the shadows, they will continue. And they will fester, and they will mold, and they will mildew, and they will stink up your life. Okay? And that is in every area of your life, not just in one area, not just in money, in your romance, with your children, in your career, everywhere. If you have mold in one area, mildew in one area, you can bet it's going to spread among all. So nip it in the bud immediately. When someone is manipulating you, when you are not feeling that you can speak your truth, like in the movie of Elvis, it was so painful to watch in a way because he wanted a certain thing. He wanted to travel the world and to really sing and just perform his way, but they wanted him to sing this way and not that way and not dance this way, not dress this way, when he just wanted to be himself. The fight in that was so strong. It's just so strong that in that movie you see what happens, and you know what happens because most of us have been there. What happens is we begin to unravel when we feel like we're a trapped, caged animal, when we feel like someone's telling us what to do and they're bullying us and there's no way out and this is it, and we are trapped either in our mental cage or in our physical cage. We begin to shut down. We begin to feel small. We begin to feel limited, like we can't do this, like really we are the worst, like we are a piece of crap, like we can't do this. And that begins to fester a reality that creates an emotional level that's sometimes hard to come out of. So when you start to feel these emotions come in that seem so dark, abide in truth, in love, in who you are. You are worthy, regardless of what you have done or have been here on this earth. That has no weight on anything. You are expressing infinity here. It's just a game of life. It's play. There's nothing happening here. Nothing you have to prove. No other. You're completely safe. You have just forgotten that you're playing a game. So abide in the heart that tells you this secret. This very unusual secret that this is not real. And when you abide in this, you feel the truth of this being. You feel love. You feel unconditional love. You feel neutrality. And nothing is neither bad or good anymore. And shame relaxes. And you just are in this moment. And you find every moment new. So every time you meet with someone, you're showing up new. And every time they're talking to you, you're viewing them as a new being. You're no longer stuck in stories of the past, of what they said to you then, what they said to you growing up, what they said to you this time or that time or the other. Those stories have now left the building, and you're abiding in currently in this moment, which is all there is, my friends, this moment. This moment is peace. This moment is love, and you can't really escape it unless you get into your mind and begin to imagine stories of shame, of guilt, of lack. If you start to begin to believe these things, then you will have that reality. You're a very powerful creator being. You can create atrocities, or you can create beautiful, magical, mystical experiences for yourself. Which one do you want to choose? You decide. Will you choose your heart? If you choose your heart, I can tell you it's a beautiful journey and there is no shame there. And I would equate it to being heaven on earth. So I've talked to you, just to wrap things up, in two different ways. I've talked to you in the absolute sense and I've talked to you in the human sense. Because the majority of us are not living in the absolute sense. We're living in this reality that seems to always have a whack-a-mole. Something's popping up here and there that we have to deal with. And so to do that, you have to partner with someone. You have to go in to those places and see what is happening with yourself. You have to get real with yourself. You have to get fed up with yourself. You have to make a change, because no one's going to do it for you. Even if you have your non-dual realization, you will not have any changes in these areas in your life unless you release. You allow the releasing to happen. And when the releasing happens, things change, things happen. You come in contact with people, you have openings, and you're okay with understanding and having and allowing guidance from this universe. But when you're closed, when you're limited, when you're living in this victim mentality, you're defensive, you're shunning and resisting therapy, you're saying that this is bad, that's bad, this and the other. Realize that about yourself. How does that make you feel to be in such resistance? See, when you have total, unsurpassing peace, there is no resistance internally within. So if you're feeling resistance internally within, go back within and stick in this moment. Sit in your heart. You have that power. And my friends, I just wanted to share a little quick plug. I watched a video about a non-dual speaker that I've watched before many times. Anna Brown. I'm sure most of you know her. And she has shared a video that was on her live. And on the very beginning part, she talks about the ways to abide in the heart. She literally gives you these steps. If you can just listen back to those steps, that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need, friends. So I recommend you go check her out. And if you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Share this content with others. I am so happy to have y'all here. I have one-on-one sessions myself, and I also offer courses to align you with your sacred heart. So if you're interested in partnering any further, feel free to check out the description section. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all.